What is going on, squad? You know the damn vibes. It's a victory Monday. It's our first victory Monday since what, September 20th? Feels like years ago. How are we doing? First of all, I got to check in on the family. How's the sourdough squad doing? Sourdough squad, you know the vibes. Drop an SDS in the chat because you know why. It's victory Monday. It's Victory Monday, guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about something positive. Are are you guys excited about talk about something positive? And we got lots and lots of positivity coming our way today. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. The offense that we have been talking about for the longest time. Where are they? But now we get to celebrate an SDS, a special sourdough squad victory Monday. Let's go. Sourdough victory Monday. We see the squad. We see everyone. Let's go. We see you, Cap. We see you, Sean. We see you, Javon, Tim, Bebop, Jones. I know I'm leaving a couple of you guys out there, but we see you all. Let's get in here. Let's get in here. And also, before we get started, you know the vibe. Smash that like button because it's Victory Monday. Let's get this thing hopping. You guys know the vibe. You guys are the core group. So you guys keep that energy all day. We'll get some more people in here once we smash that like button and get this thing to the moon because everyone's got a vibe today. You know why? It's Victory Monday. So I'm super, super excited. Oh, yeah, we see the OG SDS out here. Let's go. All right, guys. Let me get my notes squared away here because we got a lot of stuff to get into. First of all, the win yesterday, still feeling today, it feels great. Um, I understand that the defense struggled at times. I understand they went for a bit of a ride. You know, they did. And but as a result, what we've been talking about for the longest time, at least on this channel, is what are the problems with this team? Why has this team been unsuccessful? Why have they lost 4 games in a row? And what do we always talk about? It always starts and stops with Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo. And that is where it starts and stops. And that's where it's going to start and stop with this team for the rest of the year. And I know a lot of people, including myself, I was ready. I started tweeting about it. I was like getting prepared for the Trey Lance takeover because I just envisioned it was going to be another poor game from Jimmy Garoppolo, and as a result, it would have just been disgusting. And just imagine that same game if Jimmy Garoppolo was playing poorly and Justin Fields was balling out with his crazy spin around run moves, going back the opposite way, rolling out to his left, switching his hips, and hitting Cole Kmet in the end zone with the absolute dime. Like, before we get focused on the 49ers, we got to give some flowers to Justin Fields, Khalil Herbert, and that Bears offense. Phenomenal. I thought they did a really good job. They really gave us a test for a bunch of rookies and a beat up offensive line, and they got a lot of young players on that team, with which appears to be not a lot of leadership from their head coach. That wasn't even there. But before we get into the 49ers, they look good. Justin Fields showed me everything that I saw on tape on Ohio State. One of the reasons why we were Justin Fields at 3, but that doesn't change because what we were able to see from the offense is what we've been looking for all year. The entire season, Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo getting it together, and it all coming together in the run game. I think that was a big part of it as well. One of the things with the 49ers, up until this point, at least very specifically the last 2 games, you guys have heard me talk about how much we miss George Kittle in the run game, and how much that has impacted what the 49ers are trying to accomplish, what they're trying to do. And the 49ers made a big move. Let me retract that. Not a big move, but an impactful move by starting for starting Charlie Warner over Ross Dwelly. Um, and Charlie Warner got a significant amount of snaps more than Ross Dwelly. And I really don't think I think there's a correlation with how well the offense looked and why they were able to hit those second levels with the run game is big part of Kyle Juszczyk and Charlie Warner doing their job in the blocking game. So I'm super excited to hopefully get George Kittle back because that's going to take the blocking game to another level. I think it also opens an opportunity for Charlie Warner. Let's go do that good work, my guy. Let's go. Um, Charlie Warner has proven to me he deserves to be the second string tight end. Now I get it. Ross Dwelly's a good wide receiver. He's got great hands. He's a great special teamer. And he's typically been really good blocker up until this point. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, whatever it is, people take steps back. It happens. He just hasn't been what we've needed in the run game. And you saw a spark that was given to that front when you insert Charlie Warner. So just a little bit on Charlie Warner. But let's focus first. This is going to be an offensive heavy show because of what I've talked about, of what we've talked about for months at this point. It feels like months, but a better part of a month with the 49ers dysfunction, seemingly not being able to get out of their own way and score points, take care of the football, own the clock, run the football, block, all the things that we come to expect from this team. Again, what have we said? What have I said this entire time? Like, what is going on with Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo? Because it feels like it's trickling down into the rest of the entire offensive unit. I feel like something clicked this week. And I'm really excited about that because to me, that indicates that we could. Now we're not gonna go full gas and run this take into the ground, but we could see a completely different offense from here on out. And when I say completely different, meaning what they look like the first 7 weeks of the season compared to what we see the remainder of the year. Now, how do you do that? You just got to be consistent. You got to they're capable. That's the whole point. And I think that's where a lot of the frustration came from, at least from my perspective with this offense, with this team, is they are capable. And I think that's the most frustrating. When I look at the offensive line, I even look at the running backs, I look at the tight ends, I look at the wide receivers and the quarterback, even with the injuries and the turmoil and whatever, they're still capable. They are still a capable team and they're still able to win with that group as long as they play their brand of football. And we finally got to see that. It took 8 weeks, guys. It took 8 weeks, 7 actual games before the 49ers offense showed up. Now that is a positive, although it has been perceived as a negative up until this point, and rightfully so. It's been frustrating. I've been frustrated, you've been frustrated. We've been trying to figure out what's going on because it's contributed to the 49ers losing games. But big but this felt like a galvanizing performance. This felt like I almost lost it. Spicy sourdough was going to be a permanent thing there for a while, especially if they lost against the Bears by not playing their game. Again, with what happened on the defense, we can conceptualize and understand why that occurred and that the way it went down yesterday. But in regards to the offense, those were the things. And shout out DJ. DJ saved me, bro. DJ saved me from going full sourdough, spicy sourdough. I was ready to lose it. And DJ saved me. He brought me back. That's why the Sourdough Squad is the best community in IG. Even when I like to think of myself as an optimistic person who covers this team, I was starting to lose it a little bit. So you guys helped bring me back. But again, to kind of further compound on that optimism, if they can now stack performances like this, then we're building something. Then this team is moving in the absolutely correct direction. Because if they can play like that, the offensive line, guys, the offensive line gave up 3 pressures the entire game. That's fantastic. And it allowed Jimmy Garoppolo to have the comfortability to be able to move in space and be able to do all of these different things. Dylan said Brad, the most positive Niner fan, and he was scaring me yesterday. Yeah, I was scared. I was scared that we were gonna see that same lackluster performance from the offense. And thankfully they brought it back, which brought me back because I knew, as you guys knew, that was a huge game for the season. If the 49ers didn't win against the Chicago Bears this today, we would be having a conversation consoling each other about how the season is over. That was the reality of the situation. I really think that if the 49ers lost to the Bears, we would be here right now in this time, not happy, not excited, not celebrating a victory Monday, but talking about how do we start developing guys? How do we start trading guys? That's the conversations we would be having today. So I'm super happy that we're not, and it all starts up front in the trenches, as you guys know. As you guys know, it all starts up front, and the offensive line did a phenomenal job, at least based on metrics. Now, of course, I say this every single time. I'm going to hold my true evaluation of the offensive line until I break down the tape and I watch it all. But on the surface level, based on watching the broadcast and some of the stats that have come out of it, the 49ers offensive line did a fantastic job. The 49ers were able to get 21 first downs, 0 sacks allowed, and totaled 467 yards of the offense. And all of that starts up front. One of my favorite stats to come out of this game, and just for the year, the 49ers offensive line is ranked number 4 overall in pass blocking and ranked number 4 overall in run blocking grades. That means the 49ers offensive line is legitimately a top 5 offensive line. This is a group that has been getting hammered by their own fan base because their own fan base is stuck in 2020 in this bully mentality that they think if they bully the offensive line, that's somehow going to make them play better while not realizing how well they are playing right there in front of them. This is a stat that takes all 7 weeks up until this point. Now, we always take PFF, especially when the offensive line grades, with a grain of salt. But however, they are a metric that is grading offensive line play. So we will take it into account. We will take it into account. But that doesn't change the fact that this group, the offensive line, people want to come down Brunskill's Road. People want to come down Max Road. People want to come down McGlinchey's Road. Brunskill was the highest graded pass blocking offensive lineman for the 49ers yesterday. So if you want to criticize, that's fine. Where's the compliments? But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to stand up for those guys because those guys are balling regardless of if you think they're being beat. Sometimes you don't even know why they're being beat. But for the most part, these guys have been the most consistent group on the offense for the entirety of the year. The offensive line has been more consistent than the head coach. Wrap your heads around that. The offensive linemen have been more consistent than the head coach, the quarterback, the wide receivers, even Deebo Samuel. They have been more consistent than Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think Deebo Samuel is up there with drops. But he's still producing. So that's the thing. It's like people give Deebo a pass because when he makes mistakes, he's able to make up for them, like the huge 83-yard screen pass that was a touchdown, because he makes up for it and he puts numbers on the stat sheet. Offensive linemen don't do that. They can't do that. So they get treated a certain way. Some more positives to come out from the offensive line. Trent Williams was the highest graded offensive lineman in the entire league in week 8, a 92.7. Again, Jalen Moore was fantastic. Jalen Moore was fantastic. He was really, really good in his first career start, but he still had miscues. Now, I didn't go out of my way to show his miscues because again, based on the same concept, people just have a hard time understanding that you will lose as an offensive lineman. Two, you will make mistakes as an offensive lineman. And when you put Trent Williams back in there, it just really irons everything out. And Trent Williams, highest graded offensive lineman in week 8, 92.7 grade. Um, this unit up front did a really, really nice job. They did a really, really nice job. And on top of that, add in Juszczyk. Um, let's see. Add in Kyle Juszczyk. He had an 88.4 run blocking grade. That's the highest run blocking grade for Kyle Juszczyk since 2014. Um, Kyle Juszczyk has been a really good fullback in this league for a long time. And for him to put up his best run blocking grade since 2014, again, it just shows how well this group worked up front. We talked about Charlie Warner. His grade wasn't, I don't think, representative of it. His overall grade was 69.2. His run blocking was a flat 70. But I thought Charlie Warner did a phenomenal job. Keep the comments honest like a good offense. We'll get into the Von Miller thing in a sec. I do want to touch on that. I want to touch on the Rams. But it's Victory Monday, guys. Let's focus on the 49ers, how well they did, and why they can parlay this into a really good performance next week against who? The NFC West leading Cardinals. But we'll get into that in a second. Deebo Samuel broke Jerry Rice's record for most reception yards through the first 7 games. Gotta love it. Deebo's been balling, man. Deebo has been balling. Cap speaking says, Kyle's taking the criticism well and growing in his leadership. Example, all week he empowered Ayuk and also got him the ball. Exactly. I think this was a galvanizing win for this team. We talked about all week the human element, right? I know you guys have been in here. We talked about the human element, how impactful it is, why it's been soured up until this point. This is what they needed. They needed this coming out party from Jimmy Garoppolo in his hometown with 100 friends and family in attendance in a game that if he loses, he's out. I truly believe that. If Jimmy Garoppolo lost that game against a rookie quarterback with no head coach, I think that would have been the end of Jimmy. So what I love about that, though, I feel like they felt that internally as well. I feel like they felt that inside that locker room. And to see the entire offense raise to the occasion, starting up front, but then Jimmy Garoppolo getting it done, man, you have to give credit to Kyle for that. We're going to talk about Kyle and be like, man, we didn't really appreciate, maybe this offseason wasn't managed as seamlessly as we would have liked. Maybe some of the narratives that come out of this offseason caused some distractions and caused quite a few distractions inside that locker room, partially divided, your locker room and things like that. He got it back on track, and you have to give Kyle him some credit for that, to be able to stick through this, to be able to and Kyle talked about it in the press conference. He talked about, or at least in the locker room, that video. I don't know if you guys have saw it or not, but he's basically saying all of us, we all had our backs against the wall, and we all had to do our jobs and to get this thing done. And it starts with Kyle, and it starts with Jimmy when it comes to the offense. Those two are the reason for the offense moving the way it was. Again, we understand the offense, Juszczyk, tight ends, wide receivers are all a huge part of that. but the vibe and the energy comes from the head coach and the quarterback. That's where the vibe comes from. That's where the energy comes from. That's where, these offensive linemen, I forget who made the analogy. But it was absolutely perfect analogy. He said, offensive linemen are like cows. They like to eat grass all day. They like to lay in the sun. They like to just kind of mind their own business. Offensive linemen, like they kind of just like, you know, that's it's true. Offensive linemen are happy-go-lucky. They're a different breed. And he's like, defensive linemen, on the other hand, they're like bulls. They're like the testosterone-driven bulls and all those kinds of things. And I really think that with the way they were able to kind of galvanize the locker room, everyone took that next step of going from, oh, we're just a bunch of cows to, all right, we need to put our bull faces on. So I think the offensive line did that. They came out and they balled out. Debo Samuel also is through the first 7 game, or at least last game, was first in yards per route run. He also ended that game as the second leading wide receiver out of the entire league, only behind Cooper Kupp. So Debo Samuel continuing to have a phenomenal game. He also, he also, um, he also, if you look at that screenplay, we'll pull it up when we get the tape going and all that kind of stuff. Um, that offensive line was out there blocking their tails off. Because if you remember, hold on a sec. Because Alex Mack on that play was what, 15, 20 yards downfield blocking on that. That play doesn't pop without Alex Mack out in front blocking. That play doesn't pop without Mohamed Sanu blocking. Um, blocking. So it was team effort. We talked about that a lot. Team effort. Elijah Mitchell had a fantastic game. Probably his best game of his young career. He had the most rushing yards in week 8 with 137. This is the wildest stat, man. This is the wildest stat, maybe of the whole day. Elijah Mitchell had the most rushing yards in week 8 with 137. 135 of those yards came after contact, meaning he got touched or he got hit first. So he had 137 total rushing yards. 135 of those yards came after contact. He's the second. He's the second leading rusher amongst rookies. Hold on. Okay, I thought I saw George Kittle update. He's the second leading rookie rusher behind Najee Harris. Elijah Mitchell has been fantastic. And again, we've been talking, kind of bouncing around a bunch of the different plays and things and what have you. But I really think and I really believe that run by Elijah at the goal line, where the whole offensive lineman pushes Elijah into the end zone. You even had Jimmy Garoppolo give a little shove at the end. Those are the types of plays when you're a player that you have, like, if you're a fan, like, you don't, and you've never really played the game, you don't understand what those moments are. That moment of that entire team showing the grit, the fight, the not give up spirit to just push Elijah Mitchell into the end zone together as a group, as a unit. I think that is, like, those are the types of plays that can just completely galvanize a group. So I think we're just getting started. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna happen in the future. So we're gonna try and keep it right here, right now. But if this is the vibe and this is the kind of situation right now, I feel like this is a good thing. I feel like we can take and learn from the last 7 weeks. We can learn from that. This team can learn from that. They can learn from the Philadelphia game. They can learn from the Green Bay game. They can learn from the last Arizona game. They can learn from all those losses. And if they can, again, get on the same page, everyone works together, starting with the head coach to the quarterback to the rest of the position groups, this team has a really good shot at getting this back on track. I know just a week ago, hell, even the first quarter felt like it was doomsday. But that's the NFL, and that's how quickly things can change. When I was with Jason Aponte last week, that's what we were talking about when trying to keep some optimism about the season, because a lot of the conversation around the team was the season's over. What are we playing for? The season was over against the Colts. And what Jason and I were talking about was like, well, technically, no, it's not. And if they can get back against the Chicago Bears, put together a win, and then take that momentum and ride into a home game against the Cardinals, and they win, 49ers are 4-4, and we have a completely different situation on our hands. And so that's the energy that this team needs to continue to ride. That's the energy that everyone in this fan base needs to continue to ride. There is a shot. We are alive. We are in the thick of it. We are in the thick of it. Whether you think we're down and out or not, whether you think Jimmy Garoppolo won't be able to stay consistent, or whether you don't think someone or one group won't be able to stay consistent, doesn't change the fact that the 49ers right now are in the thick of it. And that is the beauty of this crazy season. And if we look back, like, guys, we're in a crucial turning point. We could be doing this live, Sourdough Squad meetup, right? It could be week 18 against the LA Rams, and we're contending for a playoff spot, or we're locked in already. We're going to talk about this week 8. We are going to talk about this moment. If the 49ers are able to get this thing on track, which I believe they are capable of doing, this is the moment that we're going to look back at. This is the time, and this is the period where we're going to say the entire season changed. Our fate changed with that win against the Chicago Bears, because winning, and again, I don't know how many times I've been met with, oh, it's just the Bears. I really don't care who the 49ers play from here on out to the end of the year. I do not care. I do not care who you put in front of this team. Do you know why I don't care? Because this team, if they play their game, they win more often than they lose. I don't care who you put in front of us. The 49ers should have beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, who are the hottest team in the NFL right now. The 49ers should have beat Kyler Murray with a rookie in his first NFL start, who is one of the hottest teams in the NFL. I don't care who you put in front of this team. That's why I don't care when you say it's just the Bears. So, I don't care. You ever heard of Any Given Sunday? Have you ever heard of It's Time to Play Your Game? I don't care about the other team. I don't care who their quarterback is. I don't care who their edge rushers are. I don't care. Because it's up to this team to get their shit together so that they can go out and play their game and win football games. Because you know why? When they do that, they win games. It's that simple. It's that simple. And I've been trying my hardest to communicate this point all year. Is that if they just do what they need to do, they win games. They win all these games. They beat Green Bay. They beat Seattle. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Colts if they play their game. So the whole notion of it's just the Bears, I really could give two shits. I'm sorry. I'm getting spicy. I'm starting to swear. I might need you guys to calm me down again, but I'm just getting hyped because I'm so excited about what this team can do right now, what they can take this pain, this suffering, this dysfunction for the last 8 weeks and flip it. That's what I'm most excited about. I'm most excited about that. Like, again, guys, think about it. If they keep winning, if they continue to win, the hardest part of the year has already passed. It's already passed. If they can get the ship on the right path, the hardest part of the year has passed. We know who the quarterback is. There's no conversations anymore. There's no conversations anymore. It's Jimmy Garoppolo, whether you like it or not. It is what it is. It's fine. Even as someone who is ready to turn the page to Trey Lance, if that's the Jimmy Garoppolo that I can get every week, week in, week out, Trey Lance, I love you, my guy. Sit your ass on the bench the rest of the year. Because that's what I need. I need that. I don't care what your name is. It could say Lance on the back. It could say Garoppolo on the back. I really don't care at this point. What I care about is this team playing their brand. Is this team playing fundamental football, doing what they should be doing to win games. That's what I care about. That's what I care about. So I'm freaking happy as hell that Garoppolo balled out. I'm happy as hell that he balled out. Garoppolo was the 4th highest graded quarterback on Sunday. 80.2 graded by PFF. 4th highest passing yards on the day. Jimmy Garoppolo. First quarterback to pass for 300 yards and rush for 2 touchdowns since Jeff Garcia in 2020. I don't care what his name is. That if you would have said Lance, I would have been just as happy. I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is this logo, the 49ers winning. That's what I care about. So moving forward, I'm excited because I think that is exactly what this team needed. I think that's exactly what this team needed from a juvenation standpoint, from a bonding standpoint. Now, again, one of my favorite things, too, they won on the road. They won on the road, which means that flight home last night was probably the most lit flight in some time for that team because they got to not only go away on Halloween, win in the early window, but they got to fly back and vibe out on the entire plane back. I can't stress the importance of that energy. And I'll tell you why, because as a player, as if you guys have ever played, you know what it's like to sit on that bus ride home after a loss or after a win. It's completely different. It's a completely different vibe. On the way home from a loss, no one is talking. Absolutely quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Not a single word is said on the way home after a loss, but on the way home after a win, oh, we're vibing. Music's up, everyone's out their seat, everyone's eating like we're munching on food because we're just hungry and happy. We just won, played our asses off. That is a turning point. Now, we're not going to sit here and say, oh, it's guaranteed turning point, but this is the energy that we really needed to see with the 49ers. This is what we needed to see in regards to the human element. We knew the ability was there. The ability's been there the entire time. That's why we've been so frustrated. That's why we're saying, why does this suck so much? Because the ability's been there the entire time. Now we saw Brandon Ayuk get involved. We saw, straight up, people don't know. That food, especially for an offensive lineman, and especially when they give out double after a win, food hits dummy different after a hard-fought victory. I shit you not. Like, I swear, food hits so much different after a W on the way home from a victory. It's just a different animal. And, you know, us offensive linemen, we want to eat. Give us our food. So when we're happy with the win. We gave up no sacks, only 3 pressures, and you give us that Chick-fil-A on the way home, we're hyped. We're hyped. We're as happy as can be. So, again, the energy up until this point of the year has been really hard. It's tried every single person in that locker room. This year has shown us, at least I'm not speaking to the fan base because the fan base will never understand. what goes on inside that locker room. But inside that locker room, they know who's real and who's not. They know who's about it and who's not. They know who's down to fight and who's not. And guess what? It starts with Jimmy. It starts with Jimmy. And if Jimmy can play good football from here on out to the end of the year, I'm saying, man. I'm saying. We're going to focus 1 week at a time. You know the vibe here. We opened up a 3-week window last week because it was just to that point. But now we're back at 1 week at a time. So now we're focused on the Cardinals. That's what's next. That's the only thing that matters. We don't care about the Rams. We don't care about the Jags. We don't care about the Vikings. We don't care about Seattle. We're focused on the Cardinals. So that is what comes next. So as you can see, it's been a long year, and I'm very happy. It's been a long year. I'm very happy to see this progression because I feel it's real progression. I feel it's tangible progression. I feel it. I feel it. So, super, super excited, if you can't tell, to get this thing going again. Again, I don't care. I don't care if it's, at this point, I love Trent Williams. I don't care if it's Trent Williams or Jalen Moore. I don't care if it's Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk. Hell, River Craycraft can come out and go off for 200 every game. I don't care. I don't care what your name is. What I care about right now is what name and logo you represent on your helmet. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. Jimmy Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Jaquiski Tart, I don't care. As long as at this point, just play. Just play. Just play. I haven't talked about Brandon Ayuk too much. Brandon Ayuk did get four receptions. He did well. He had some good moments. They targeted him. They made it a concerted effort to go after him. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for that. Again, it doesn't matter if your star wide receiver is in fact struggling. When you come out and you say the things that you say, you put out an APB on Brandon Ayuk, where everyone's got him under a microscope now. So I'm happy that they were able to get him the football, get him involved more. And I think that's what we need to do. And 100%, this was the first game of the year, Queen. Welcome. I haven't seen you around these parts. This was the first game that it felt like we knew what we were. We knew what we were trying to accomplish. We knew what we were trying to gain on the offensive side of the football. We knew what we were trying to do, and then it was executed well. That is the big thing. That is the big thing, is that it was executed well. And it all starts up front. So, man, couldn't be more excited about that. And so now, what do we get next week? Do we get George Kittle back next week? That's the hope. I don't know for sure. I'm waiting to hear something pop on that. I don't know yet. I hope so, because I tell you guys, I'm not joking. We miss Kittle a lot more than people want to give credit for because he's not aiding their fantasy team. We need him. And I think that's one of the most exciting things too, is Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell was hurt against Green Bay. Wasn't he hurt against Seattle as well? So the point being is Elijah Mitchell really hasn't had a ton of opportunity to run behind George Kittle. But when he has, like the Detroit's game, he's done pretty well. So I saw shout out Jesse. A lot of people came down his road for questioning Elijah Mitchell's vision, because Elijah Mitchell loves to cut back against the grain. It's one of his moves that I've keyed on really quickly. He loves to cut back against the grain, and so far he's gotten caught. I think 2 or 3 times he's tried it. That won't last for long. Elijah Mitchell's going to bust one of those, and he's going to put a safety that's over pursuing on his face, because Elijah Mitchell hits him with a nasty cutback. It's going to pop one of these ones. He's getting bottled up on the cutbacks right now that look like poor reads, but they're not. It's very intentional with what Elijah Mitchell's going to do. And if you add that other element of a guy like a George Kittle that is phenomenal as a blocker, then I can imagine the run game can get even better than what we've seen. So love it. Absolutely love it. 100%. This is a Charlie Warner Stan account now. Like, I love Charlie Warner. And we talked about this at the beginning, James. I think Charlie got 45 snaps off the top of my head, and I think Dwelly got 15. Don't quote me on the exact numbers, but that was about the disparity of Warner taking over. And again, you're seeing the offense take strides as a result of Warner playing more. That is not a coincidence. You guys have heard me the last 2 weeks talk about Dwelly as a liability in the run game and why the run game wasn't working, because he was the last guy. He was, when in this offense that prides itself on outside zone, that's why blocking from the tight end position and fullback position are extremely important. And when you don't have that, guess what? Your offense doesn't work. So all the people that want to say George Kittle, whatever, trade him, get rid of him, it's only going to get better, theoretically, with his return. So I'm super, super excited to see that. I'm very happy with this too. I was not in love with the Charlie Warner pick. This is the Marquise Goodwin pick. This is the pick that we got for trading Marquise Goodwin to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 6th-round pick swap. This is who we got. We got Charlie Warner. At the time, it was like we just jumped up in the 6th round. It's not like we got an additional 6th round. We just swapped spots and then gave them Marquise Goodwin, and we got Charlie Warner. And at the time, it was like, I get it. It's a 6th round, so whatever. But the tight end grab, I was like, this is weird, And again, he was a blocker out of Georgia, not a receiving tight end. Didn't put up a ton of stats, and I was just like, he's a good blocker, but we'll see what he develops into. Charlie Warner is developing into a phenomenal player for the 49ers. So that's a huge takeaway. That's a huge takeaway for the future. Again, we know George Kittle. We know how hard he plays. A lot of people use George Kittle and his ability and how hard he plays against him because he gets hurt, he gets injured. Man, I would pay top dollar for a guy like George Kittle on my team and take the injuries as they come. That energy when you're out there with those boys and you're out there grinding and you're out there in the trenches, you need a guy like Kittle. You need a guy like Kittle who's going to elevate everyone's game on that offensive line. A tight end elevating everyone's game on the offensive line. Is that a real thing? It is a real thing. That's what George Kittle is. He takes so much pride in his blocking ability that you see it when it's not there. And there's a reason why he takes a lot of pride in it. So the 49ers can get Kittle back. I'm hoping we can even take a step further in the right direction. And go from there. I'm going to take a quick little break. We got 117 people in here. You know the vibe. I'm going to do this a little bit more. Let's get the likes up on this video, man. Let's get the likes up, man. I know you guys, the Sourdough Squad, always be liking, always be chatting, always be putting up the vibes. But if you're new and you're hopping in, just hit the little like button. maybe even the subscribe if you want, if you like the vibe around here, because we'll welcome you in. Sourdough Squad is very welcoming. We'll take you under our wing and we'll protect you and we'll feed you and clothe you. Um, it's true. Great community. They take care of me when I start losing them. That's I think the biggest takeaway from it all. When I start losing it, Sourdough Squad got my back. That's what I love. But overall, the game against the Chicago Bears, I think, was beautiful in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, other than just football, it was. Yeah, we like that. We won. we like that. It was. I think it was therapeutic in a lot of different ways for the guys on the team. Um, I think it was very therapeutic for that locker room. Again, the way it stacked up, the human element, you can't look past it. Steve Young last week, I forget, 49ers Webzone reposted it. I forget where he originally transmitted it from. But they asked Steve Young, what do you think the issues are in this locker room? Everything that Steve Young said was about, or let me jump back. What are the issues with the team? Why aren't they executing? That was the question. Why aren't they executing on the field? And everything that Steve Young talked about came back to the locker room. Came back to the locker room. Came back to the guys in the locker room. Came back to the offseason. Came back to the messaging all around this team all year. That's all Steve Young talked about. He gave examples of when he was in it and doing it. So that's why I think this was such a huge freaking win. Because I think that's why. Again, why we always pointed at Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan. Because what was this offseason? Luke said, "Get the Luke's the best, man. Luke is the best, man. I appreciate Luke's consistency 100%. But yeah, Steve Young, he pointed to that locker room. He said, you want to know why everything isn't translating to the field? You want to know why they got a good group of guys and talented guys and why it's not translating to the field? Just look at the locker room. Look at the give and take in the locker room. Look at the relationships. Look at the off season. Look at all of it. That's why. That's why. And that's why I think this was such a galvanizing win. Because I think it actually finally, like, it felt like the defense, who had been keeping us in all these games that we lost. The defense has been keeping us in all these games that we lost. They keep getting hurt. They keep losing guys. Like, our defense, like, hopefully it's not in vain. Hopefully their performance against Green Bay, against Seattle, against the Cardinals, against the Colts, I hope it's not in vain. Because, you take away the penalties, you take away some of the really substantial miscues, you take away that, the defense has been phenomenal this year. So, but now they're at a point, they lost 2 starting interior defensive linemen. They lost their starting defensive end. They lost their first string, either I think it was a Sam linebacker, and Alshire was the Will. So they lost both their starting Sam and their Will. They've lost their starting cornerbacks. No, Emmanuel Moseley played. Emmanuel Moseley had a bit of a tough game. Emmanuel Moseley's actually had a really good year all year. I would actually say Emmanuel Moseley had probably one of his toughest games last week. But we're rotating at cornerback. Safeties have been decimated now. We don't know what Jimmy Ward's timetable is. He could be out for some time. Jaquiski Tartt's on injured reserve. Talanoa Hufanga steps in. Tavon Austin steps in. Or not Tavon Austin. Tavon Wilson. Right? I think that's his name. But you get my point. The 49ers defense has scrapped and clawed their ass to put the 49ers in a position to win a lot of games that they haven't won. And now it was the 49ers offense turn to switch to turn the tables and take over and really make this thing work for this group. So all these little nuances, I think play again. Brandon Ayuk situation, the offensive line playing well, Jimmy Garoppolo bouncing back, all of that, all the defense doing their hardest to stick in it, knowing they were at a bit of a disadvantage with some of the guys that they were missing. So that being said, that was a positive win. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that was a positive win? Do you think that this? I think the question that I posed on this live was, can the 49ers get back on track? Do you think that the 49ers can get back on track? Do you think this is a one-off, just kind of like, oh, it's just, we know Jimmy can play good in spurts, but he's not consistent. So that means this run isn't going to be consistent. That means, I've heard the offensive line isn't good. So it's gonna get worse again. Is that how we feel? Is that how you guys feel? Do you feel like this is just maybe a one-off, or do we feel like this is a true jumping point for them to move forward? Red says yes, if Jimmy can be consistent. 100% agree. Joe says, I think this will help them get back on track. I agree as well. James, no, you never lost faith, man. DJ says, 100% positive win, need more. 100%. And now we get into stacking. That's why we now stack wins. This is how you stack wins as a football player. You stack like these wins. They say stacking is because you're stacking momentum. You're stacking momentum. With the run game, we're going far. Man, zero carries. We got 0 carries from Trey Sermon, but still balled out. Still balled out with Elijah Mitchell. Jermichael Hasty doing a little. Think Tank says they need to win the next game to really believe in themselves, and that's all we were talking about. So all we were talking about, first hurdle is the Bears, right? Take care of the Bears. Then we take the momentum into the Cardinals at home. And they're banged up. And they're actually on a little bit of a downward tilt based on their momentum. So I like the way this is meeting up. I really, really do. When Jimmy has a good run game, we win games. I agree. Could be a defining moment. I 100% agree. I think it could be absolutely a defining moment. Just like one bad game, he had one amazing game. He's still a roller coaster ride at Six Flags. 100%. 100%. We don't know. We don't know what Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do against the Arizona Cardinals, but he showed us something that we haven't seen in 7 weeks. So I recognize that's one of my evaluation of Jimmy Garoppolo needs to be more consistent, has always needed to be more consistent. He has the talent and has the ability. It's the consistently doing it part that he struggles with the most. So if we can do that, if we get consistent Jimmy, we get consistent Jimmy, boys. Watch out. Red Eye says Niner have the Jags, Texans, Falcons up next as loser teams. That's a couple, but the big test is going to come from the winning teams in the Cardinals and the Rams. Those teams, the Jags, Texans, and Falcons, I'm not going to worry too much about because I'm worried about the Cardinals coming up next week. I think that's the biggest one that I'm looking at. Red X says maybe it's the win yesterday, but I'm feeling a definite win against the Cards. Again, momentum, ride it, protect it at all costs. And that's what this team has to do. They got to take this momentum. and fans are still talking crap, and I'm okay with that. I think that helps. In 2019, again, that was our rallying cry as a team, as a social media account that revolves kind of around the team. That was our cry in 2019. We were the pretenders, and we loved every second of it. We loved everyone talking crap about us. So keep it up. Keep it up, because I think the biggest hurdle was they made it, and it was the locker room. And again, if you need proof of that, just go watch Kyle Shanahan's speech in the locker room after it all. It's pretty telling, in my opinion. A win against the Bears is a step in the right direction, 100%. Do you think it's a free win if they don't have Kyler? No. No win in the NFL is ever free. Never. There's rare instances when you meet a really crappy team, but no. I never view any win as a free win, because you just never know. Teams show up. Teams show up when you don't expect them to show up, and they'll punch you in the face, and they'll all come out. Every 22, all 22 starters decide to come out, have the game of their life. That happens. So not every win is free. Not every win is free. Texans is worse than the Bears. Texans are kind of falling into their own too. Davis Mills is balling out a little bit. So, it's the Texans. I get it, but you just the same concept. Can't sleep too much on it. You can't sleep too much on it. Everyone again who said, "Oh, it's the Bears." Do you guys remember that we were down to the Bears for a good half of the game? Like we were behind the Bears. So again, nothing is guaranteed. We saw it's the same concept. Justin Fields hasn't had the best year because he's a rookie. He's on a kind of a poor team, at least poorly managed team from the outside looking in, and he's a rookie, so lumps come with it. But he had his best game of his career against us. So you don't know. You really don't know. Brad makes a great salesman to the gang. I got you guys. I got you. Wouldn't overestimate that AZD line. Never. Still, that defensive line for Arizona is still good. That defense is still good. They can still cause havoc. Losing J.J. Watt hurts, but they're still a good team. Jesse says, my opinion, we get all 1-year contracts off the books, build Jimmy Garoppolo's value, bring Trey in on packages, get reps, gain that experience, but get guys like Lenore, Hufanga, those types of guys, snaps. I agree. And I want to kind of extrapolate this. I was kind of saving this for the end a little bit, but I want to extrapolate the quarterback conversation a little bit further, because I think we understand that Jimmy Garoppolo, his number one concern amongst the fan base is consistency and health. I would say two things: consistency and health. We understand the consistency part has kept him in the starting lineup until this time, regardless of if it was there or not. If he was consistently good, he was consistently bad, I would say, more than he is consistently good the first quarter of the season. But if he can stay consistent, that's great. We win games. But if he gets hurt, this is how it's a lot different than, let's say, 2020 or even 2019 for that matter, because Jimmy Garoppolo was able to stay healthy for the entire year. I want to bring another level of optimism that is really good, in my opinion, because I feel this is Jimmy Garoppolo's team. I tweeted about it earlier today because I feel like I mistakenly, and I will admit this in front of you guys, that I had the wrong perception of what this offseason was from the quarterback position. Based on, you guys know how I am. You guys know how I am. You guys know. I spent this whole year like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Maybe that's actually true. And it's actually put me in a great position. But I think where this got me in trouble was that I felt that it was actually a competition in training camp between Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, when in reality it wasn't. And I'm over here like, oh, Kyle's being Kyle. He's just hiding it from everyone. He's not putting Trey Lance with the ones because this is all part of his plan to build up Jimmy Garoppolo's value and trade him before the season starts. That's where my head was at. I'm admittedly wrong there. I'm admittedly wrong there because based on where we're at, week 8, it's abundantly clear this was Jimmy Garoppolo's team. Hershey Kiss. It's abundantly clear that this was Jimmy Garoppolo's team from the start, and this actually is the plan. I think they really did want to either redshirt Trey or let's say the 49ers are humming. They're winning games. They're being consistent. We know Jimmy Garoppolo struggled with health. Jimmy Garoppolo goes down. What do you have this time? What do you have this time? You now have a young quarterback that is durable, that might need time to develop as a NFL pocket passer, but can do anything right now with his legs. So that's a positive, in my opinion. As long as Jimmy Garoppolo is playing good football, this 49er team, in my opinion, has a shot to go far. And let's say he does get hurt. Let's say he does get hurt. Let's say he goes down, knock on wood, because I don't want to see him go down. Let's say against week 15 against the Falcons, the 49ers have put together, let's say the 49ers win 4 games out of the next 6. I think that's reasonable. 4 out of the next 6. They're squarely in the playoff hunt. Jimmy's playing at a high level. The offense is playing at a high level. The rhythm is back. Everything is back. Everyone's understanding what to do. That's an additional month and a half for Trey Lance to get more seasoning, to get more understanding of the concepts, more understanding of the offense, so that if Trey, let's say Jimmy goes down at the end of the year, it's almost like the 49ers get this shiny new toy as they go right into the playoffs that other teams don't necessarily know how to defend quite yet. They don't have the book on Trey Lance yet. They don't know. So I'm keeping that in the back of my head. Do I want Jimmy Garoppolo to play well? See, this is why I love Luke, dude. Luke, I've been on this for it's week 8. I started feeling this against the Colts, but it's week 8 for me to have the epiphany that I'm just like, man, I've been going down the wrong road for months. But my guy Luke's still here. That's why I appreciate you, Luke. But this is Jimmy's team this year, and I think that's what it is. Jimmy ain't getting traded. Jimmy ain't going nowhere. Again, I don't care. I don't care about Chicago, bro. I don't care. I do not care. Because they were losing to that team. What's the point? It's any given Sunday. These guys are all NFL players. I don't care who they play. You could say that to me for the rest of the year. I'm going to keep that same energy if the 49ers beat the Rams, when they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't care. Who's in front of us. They have a good defensive line. They have good defensive backs. They have good linebackers. Roquan Smith is one of the best young middle linebackers in the NFL. Akeem Hicks is one of the best interior defensive tackles in the NFL. Don't care. I don't care. You can tell me they're trash all you want. Don't care. Don't care at all. Because it's up to this team to play their game. They play their game, they win. Simple math. I don't like math. I'm not good at it, but that's simple math. I think all of us can understand. If the 49ers play their game that they're capable of to their level and to their expectation, this team's not, this is going to be hard to lose. It's going to be hard to lose. We can see we have a guy in our chat who's not a part of the Sourdough Squad. It's okay. You're welcome to look in and kind of look how us optimistic fans do it. You feel free to hit that dislike button and dip out if you want. But it's fine. We're a vibe here. So we're going to continue to vibe because this team is headed in the right direction and can completely change this year's fate with a beautiful win against Chicago. I don't care who they played against. I don't care. I don't care. So now what the 49ers have to do is hold that momentum and then take that into the Cardinals game against one of the better teams in the NFL at home. So if the 49ers can do that and stack 2 victories back to back, it's going to be hard. It's definitely going to be more hard to beat the Cardinals. But they have set them. I think when people talk about it's just the Bears, they don't understand momentum. I don't know if he's still here. Have you ever played football before, man? Have you ever played football, Dimitri? Do you understand momentum? Do you understand the human element of football? Do you understand how these aren't robots playing? This isn't a computer-generated Madden game where you just plug and play guys. Emotions matter. Energy matters. All of that matters. So now the 49ers have basically went through a storm. Just went through an absolute storm of the choppiest seas imaginable, to the point where this fan base, probably you, Dimitri, were telling, we got to fire Kyle Shanahan. We got to fire John Lynch. We got to trade George Kittle. We got to cut McGlinchey. That's probably you. This wouldn't surprise me one bit. But that's why you're there, and that's why we're here. So it is what it is. And you come back and you keep these receipts. You come back next week, following week, throw it in my face. It's fine. This isn't our first rodeo. So it is what it is. We're not going to focus on we're not going to focus on, oh, they beat the Chicago Bears. Doesn't count. Tell me you're a brand new fan to the NFL without telling me you're a brand new fan to the NFL. Good. We keep receipts too, Tyler or Dimitri. So we'll see you soon. But as you can see, we're a much different group over here. You stumbled into the wrong waters, my guy. Come talking all that mess. we don't care. Dude, you missed my rant, Tyler or Dimitri. Maybe it would have been better if you came in probably about a half an hour ago when I went on like a 20-minute rant about I don't care who the 49ers play. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe you missed that part, which clearly you did. I don't care. I don't care because, you guys know why. I don't have to keep repeating myself. Right now, Don Burr, right now it's the Sourdough Squad versus Dimitri. That's what it is. Right now it's the Sourdough Squad versus Dimitri. Shout out Don Burr. I hope you get a win. Don. I really do. I feel so bad. For Lions fans. Like, again, 49er fans think they got it bad. 49er fans ain't got it bad. Look at the Detroit Lions, man. Awful. Absolutely awful. Yes, I think Diamador had the baby. I think he did. Hey, but at the end of the day, Dimitri, all love. At the end of the day, we like to keep good vibes. It is what it is. Friendly ribbing is absolutely welcome here. That's why Don Burr's here. That's why Don Burr is here. We played the Lions week 1. It's week 8. Don Burr's still checking in. We're okay with friendly ribbing. It's okay. It's okay here. We can deal with it. So I get it. I get it. I get why people say that, but it's just not my vibe. Not my vibe. Oh, let's talk about. Let's talk about. You're new here. Yeah, if you're new here, this might not, and you're coming into the middle of it, might not be the best one for you to get welcomed into the sourdough squad and the group. But it's okay. It's okay. We're having fun right now. We are obviously an hour and 10 minutes into it, so we've gotten a lot of the meat out of the way. But I did want to talk about the trade for the Rams. The Rams traded for Von Miller. So now it's clear as day that the LA Rams see their shot for the Super Bowl right now. There's clear that they see the window. We know they've been trying to take advantage of this window. Clearly wasn't going to happen with Jared Goff. They have Matthew Stafford now, who's, my goodness, has them looking like absolute world beaters right now. So the addition of Khalil Mack with Aaron Donald is going to be a sight to see. It's going to be a sight to see. I'm interested, and especially too when the 49ers face the LA Rams week 10 on Monday Night Football. That's going to be a week where Von Miller is going to be like actually really getting into gear at that point, because he just got traded today. That means he's got a game coming up on Sunday. I don't know the Rams schedule off the top of my head. They could have a bye. I don't know. But I think the first real game that we see Von Miller. Did I say Mac? I don't know. I don't know what I said anymore. I meant Von Miller. Von Miller will get a really, really good shot against the 49ers week 10 on Monday Night Football. So again, the whole chat is confused. My apologies for that. So again, we're talking about the momentum thing. You take this momentum, you parlay it into a really, really good game against the Cardinals. If the 49ers can come out with a win against the Cardinals, holy crap, guys. Again, it's not definite. It's not definitive that the 49ers are going to come out and play, at least from the offensive side of things, like they played against the Chicago Bears in the second half. Like, we don't know. We don't know what we're going to get. That's part of the fun of being an NFL 49ers fan right now. Or at least, yeah, we don't know. We don't know what we're going to get. It's like a surprise goodie bag. So, but the thing is we hadn't seen this surprise goodie bag at all this year. We hadn't seen a functional offense all year. We haven't seen an energized offense all year. We haven't seen an offense that carried some semblance of an identity all year. We haven't seen that. It's week 8. It's week 8. Now, that's part of it, man. Sometimes as a football team, it takes time to gel. It takes time to really put all the crap to the side and to gel. And I think that's a lot of what it was. Bro, if I'm a jinx, man, if I have that power of the 49ers, I should be the GM. I'm just saying that. If what I'm saying right now truly has weight over how the 49ers win or lose games, then I should absolutely be the GM. I should not be here on YouTube. I should be in the press box, in the GM booth, making the decisions if that's the kind of power that I have. I know I don't. But 49ers come out good against the Cardinals, get a win. Again, I'm not saying they will get a win. That's why I don't like doing predictions. That's why I don't like, you'll hear me all the time. Someone will give me your prediction or like, what is your season prediction? I hate predictions. There's so many variables. It's just such a hard thing to predict. So, like I said, everyone is going to pick the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not jinxing us because just wait. Just wait when the entire national media comes out. They pick the Cardinals to win. When that's what's going to happen is everyone is going to pick the Cardinals to win. And that's the jinx in of itself, not me. Do I think the Niners will keep Mostert next year? Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, I'm a big fan of Raheem Mostert. I was one of the only people this offseason talking about how important Raheem Mostert was. Everyone was ready to move on from Raheem to Trey Sermon. And I even thought Trey Sermon was really good too. But there's a level of ability that Raheem Mostert brings to the table that no one else has right now. Elijah Mitchell's showing traits of that. But yeah, Mostert, I don't think so. I think he would want to if he got paid, but I don't think he's going to get paid. And so because he's not going to get paid, he's going to go get paid somewhere else. You guys have to keep in mind, this is probably the last opportunity that Raheem Mostert has to cash in on a check. Like, this is it. He's 30. There aren't going to be a lot of opportunities that are coming his way. So I don't fault Raheem Mostert for going and securing the bag. Again, he had a hard enough time getting his special teams contract fully guaranteed, let alone getting an extension. So Raheem Mostert isn't here. I don't think so. Jeff Wilson's going to be another interesting one. Because he's also on a 1-year contract, and he's got an injury now. He's got a torn meniscus in his knee. I would be nervous of investing into a running back that has a knee problem. So we'll see. We still got to get El Jefe back this year. We still need him on the field this year. The timetable for him to return was November. So it's November 1st. So hopefully we find out what's going on with El Jefe soon. So we'll see. Colt McCoy is Kyler Murray's backup. Colt McCoy is Kyler Murray's backup. So I'm just saying, we don't know. We don't know how this year's going to play out. That's why the whole doom and gloom thing doesn't work until you're mathematically eliminated. It really does. Again, even last year, the 49ers were still in the playoff hunt last year towards the end with the worst year ever. Kyle's speaking right now. Is he? I don't see it, at least on YouTube. Yeah, I don't see Kyle speaking. Unless I'm missing it. No, he is speaking. All right, he is speaking. All right, let's do this. I'm gonna pause. Yep, we're dropping injury news. We're dropping all kinds of stuff. Let me kill this stream and might bring up another one to talk about injuries because they're dropping injury stuff right now. So let me get all this stuff posted. Let me get all the injury news posted, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it because there's some injuries coming out. So yep, there's some injuries coming out really quick. We'll get into it. Yeah, not crazy though. I don't see anything that's crazy. Again, Elijah Mitchell ribs limited. Jimmy Ward likely to miss 1 to 2 weeks. Ooh, there's an outside shot that Jimmy Ward could play this week. Per Shanahan, Jeff Wilson window will open. We're just talking about Jeff Wilson, guys. We were just talking about Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson's window for practicing opens right now. Let's go. All right. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my posts out, see if I can get a hold of this presser, and then we might come back. Appreciate everyone for hopping on. Always Sourdough Squad, keeping me right, keeping me tight. We see you. Again, Sourdough Squad is undefeated. I will take our small community against any community at this point because this community is built on substance and valor. I appreciate you guys. We'll be back. Great Victory Monday. Let's go.